A fantastic top of the morning to you this day, Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. I do hope you have a well-restful night. Welcome to another brand new day and, of course, to another episode of the program The Press here on Captain Television. We're streaming live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Princess Ekezi Okoli, and on the show we bring you, of course, the biggest stories trending on our headlines, and of course also bring you an update on on how the weather is going to look like every single day. So stay tuned because you're going to get informed, inspired, and of course educated on the show. Well, without further ado, I'm going to start with the weather update today, and I'll be starting from the farthest part of the north, which is of course the northeastern part of the country, and I'm looking at Maiduguri in the state of Borno State. So Maiduguri as of this morning is boosting off 23 degrees Celsius. It is sunny with a high of 35 and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Sunny conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 14 km per hour. That's in the city of Maiduguri. And now let's move over to Kaduna and the rest of the northern part of the country. While in Kaduna State this morning it's boosting of 21 degrees Celsius. It's mostly cloudy with a high of 30 degrees and a low of 21 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 10 with wind gusts up to 14 km per hour. All right, now so far from Kaduna is the city of Kano in Kano State. We're having temperature about 22 degrees Celsius. It's also sunny with a high of 33 and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 1800 hours today with wind gusts up to 18 km per hour. All right, before I move away from the north, let's look at Jos. The city of Jos in Plateau State is boasting of 18 degrees Celsius. It's also partly cloudy with a high of 28 degrees and a low of 18 degrees Celsius. Now, sunny conditions are expected around 1800 hours today with wind gusts up to 11 km per hour. And with that, I take you away from the north and bring you to the south, and we're looking at the south. Let's look at the city of Benin in Edo State. Benin is boosting of 22 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy with a high of 30 and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Now, rainy conditions are expected around 1700 hours with wind gusts up to 6 km per hour. All right, with that, we'll bring you to Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt, the state capital of Rivers State, is boosting of 23 degrees Celsius. With a bit of drizzle here and there, a high of 30 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Now, cloudy conditions are expected around 11 with wind gusts up to 5 km per hour. And with that, we take you to the southeast. All right, looking at the south is in the state of Imo. We have 22 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy with a high of 30 degrees and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Cloudy conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 6 km per hour. And all right, it's still in the eastern part of the country is Enugu State. In the city of Enugu is boasting of 22 degrees Celsius as well. It's cloudy with a high of 30 and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Now, rainy conditions are also expected around 1800 hours with wind gusts up to 5 km per hour. Let me take you to the west. Let's look at the commercial city of Lagos State. All right, Lagos is boasting of 24 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy with a high of 28 and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Now, rainy conditions are expected around 7. All right, with a wind gust up to 10 km per hour. All right, still in the west is Ondo. Ondo is boasting of 21 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy with a high of 29 degrees and a low of 21 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 1600 hours with wind gusts up to 7 km per hour. And with that, it brings us back to municipal here in the city of Abuja. We're having a temperature of about 21 degrees Celsius. It's mostly cloudy with a high of 29 and a low of 21 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 1400 hours with wind gusts up to 12 km per hour. All right, with that, we wrap up the weather segment this morning. I hope with that it gets you geared up for the weather today as you go about your business. And with that, let's move over to what the headlines have for us today. Let's look at the biggest stories trending this morning, Wednesday. And I'll be starting with the Daily Times. All right, on the Daily Times, the top story there says, we're ready to lend $500 million to Nigeria government. That's AFDB on that one. Also have other stories. Tinubu seeks National Assembly approval for new $2.3 billion external borrowing, $500 million sovereign sukuk. All right, you find that story on page 2, both of them on page 2 actually. Our other stories, Naji bows to pressure, resigns as president accepts his resignation. Reps seek medical intervention for Nnamdi Kanu. Supreme Court reserves judgment on withheld Osun local government funds. INEC, Yakubu bows out, hands over to May Abamuche Mbo as acting chairman. And World Bank warns of job crisis as 600 million workers enter Africa's labor market. All right, those are the stories you find on Daily Times this morning. And with that, let's go to the Daily Monitor. Alleged certificate forgery. At last, Naji resigns as minister. Tinubu accepts minister's resignation and thanks him for his service. All right, of the stories you find on Daily Monitor, Tinubu seeks reps approval of $2.34 billion external borrowing, $500 million sovereign sukuk. Decent workday, NLC seeks justice, fair treatment for workers. ADC's mission beyond attaining power in 2027 mark. Unpaid salaries, NASU, SANU plan one-day protests on Thursday. Dangote refinery labor dispute may discourage investors. Kuka, Sanusi, others warn. And the writer says, asks federal government to protect multi-billion-dollar refinery, ensure workers' rights are respected. Yakubu bows out of INEC, hands over to Abamuche Mbo as acting chair. Tinubu confers national honor on outgone electoral commission boss. Why I decided to bow out of INEC, Yakubu. All right, if you want to read further in the story, pick up the Daily Monitor this morning. With that, let's move over to Daily Independent newspaper. Finally, minister accused of certificate forgery resigns. 98% of Nigerians will be exempted from payee in 2026, or yet delay on that. And we'll see how for this story. Despite rising FX inflows, debt payments squeezing fiscal space, the writer says, Tinubu seeks $2.3 billion external loan for budget deficit. Others, federal government unveils $100 million carbon project to boost green growth agenda. 2 out of every 3 Nigerian children suffer food poverty. UNICEF. Nigeria ranks number 1 in Africa, number 2 globally in child malnutrition. That's not a good report at all. All right, Yakubu leaves as INEC chair, hands over to Abamuche Mbo. Tinubu bestows national honor on him. No going back on strike, ASU tells federal government. Ababio promises an open, accountable, responsive Senate. And the writer said Natasha returns after 6 months suspension. All right, other story here, 2027 failure is not an option. We must compete, win. ADC vows to change outdated pattern of political class 7 itself. And the last story, Nigeria's non-interest capital market hits 1.6 trillion naira. All right, with that, let's move over to The Nation. The Nation newspaper. Scheduled flights begin at Ogun Gateway Airport. NCAA certificates, NCAA certifies Ekiti Airport. Oyedele, 98% of workers to be exempted from PAYE. All right, South Supreme Court reserves judgment in Osun Council's fund suit. Abamuche Mbo is acting chair as Yakubu bows out of INEC. All right, other stories we'll have on The Nation. Federal government to refinance expensive debt portfolio, says Edun. Federal lawmakers promise better deal for Nigerians. Natasha resumes at plenary. Beer industry says drop of tax stamp plan. And the biggest story on The Nation, certificate scandal. Naji resigns ministerial position. Decision due to sustained blackmail persecution. President accepts resignation. All right, these are the stories you'll find on The Nation this morning. And with that, I bring you this day. this day. Dangote versus Pengasson, Sanusi, Kuka, Ote, Peterside, others weighed in, say unionism not licensed to cripple economy. And some of the writers says maintain strikes may discourage investors or investment, want protection, fair treatment of workers. Nupenga tax or Shomole over alleged anti-labor remarks. NLC Shatima's position on Pengasson, Dangote face off troubling. ACF BOT chair condemns deliberate sabotage of refinery. Those are the writers to that top story. And with that, we'll bring you other ones. 31st Nigerian Economic Summit BS sector backs MAN, urges federal government to rescind tax stamps rollout. All eyes on Tinubu as INEC chair Yakubu bows out. Abamuche Umbo now acting. And some of the writers, President honors ex-commission's head with CON. For more, this day General Counsel and law editor becomes acting chairman. Okay, Uche Naji, Tinubu's minister accused of certificate forgery, quits. President accepts his resignation. Premium Times, how ministers' own letters countered his graduation claim. Records show he failed a virology course, MCB 431AB, made two unsuccessful attempt to reset the examination. All right, that's that. And then the last story, Daud Lawal at Digital Government Africa Summit in Lusaka. All right, with that away from there, we'll bring you Liberty, the Liberty newspaper. Alleged certificate forgery scandal, Tinubu Minister Naji resigns. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu resigns as well. Federal government seeks fresh $2.35 billion external loan, $500 million sovereign sukuk. Tinubu unveils 4 trillion naira bond, $2 billion China loan to reboot Nigeria's power sector. World Bank raises Nigeria, other African countries' growth forecast. Kano, North will repay Tinubu's goodwill in 2027. Barrow, 2027 is not OB yet. The US will support Atiku or JEJ Ayodele. All right, and then the last story here: Borno police JTF repel Boko Haram assault as soldiers reportedly abandoned battlefront. All right, let's look at The Guardian newspaper this morning. Anxiety lingers over insecurity, fate of displaced persons. Senate 6 10-year passport ban for Nigerians convicted abroad. New tax law exempts over 90% of Nigerians from PAYE, says Oyedele. Alleged genocide, Congressman urges Trump to designate Nigeria's country of particular concern. Natasha returns to Senate after 6 months suspension. Power generation offtake dropped by 5% as discos lose 158 billion naira. 2027, Tinubu sheds political baggage as embattled Minister Naji resigns. Abbas Abia lawmaker clash over Nnamdi Kanu's health condition. All right, and the last one, cost of food production rose by 36% in 2025. All right, with that, that's that on The Guardian newspaper. Let's look at the metrics. The metrics newspaper: CBN pegs POS agents daily transactions at 1.2 million naira, 100,000 for individuals. Okay, end of an era at INEC. May Abamuche Mbo takes over as acting chairman as Yakubu exits electoral body. Bishop Kuka, Peterside, Sanusi, others wade into Dangote refinery Pengasson crisis. Uchegate, embattled Minister Naji resigns. Thank you for your service. I wish you well in future endeavors. Tinubu, carry your cross. We have no hand in your ordeal. Enugu government. All right. ADC vows to review Nigeria's constitution to reflect new order. David Mark. All right. Tinubu withholds assent to 2 National Assembly bills. All right. We also have other stories here. In entertainment, Emisi receives 150 million naira grand prize as BB Niger season 10 winner. Natasha Botiu-Duahan returns to Senate after 6 months suspension. And on sport, Arsenal consider Wembley as home ground amid plans to expand Emirates Stadium. All right, with that, I bring you Nigerian Tribune this morning. Nigerian Tribune. INEC Yakubu proceeds on terminal leave, hands over to Obamuche Umbo. Tinubu honors him with national award. New tax regime. Federal government targets relief for 98% of workers. Osun local government funds. Supreme Court reserves judgment in state suit against AGF. Tinubu writes Senate withholds assent to 2 bills. Says federal government must prevent abuse of funds. Certificate scandal. Uche Nnaji resigns as minister. ACF wants federal government to protect Dangote refinery in nation's interest. And then on health, CDC ends universal recommendation for COVID-19 vaccine. Ogun Airport records first commercial flight as NCAA approves operations in Ekiti Airport. Sanu Nasir to protest October 9 over federal government's failure to meet demands. All right, that will be tomorrow. Let's see how that pans out. All right, let's look at the Blueprint. The Blueprint newspaper. All right, on business. Discos rake in 564.71 billion naira revenue in second quarter of 2025. NNPCL has replied queries over unaccounted 210 trillion naira. Senate responses will be critically examined. Federal government seeks national approval for $2.3 billion new external loan. Tinubu declines assent to transport tech library trust fund bills. E-cigarette use raises fresh concerns. All right, let me see other stories here. I'm trying not to repeat the other ones I've taken before. All right, World Cup qualifiers, 17 players train in Polokwane. All right, let's see. The biggest headline on the Blueprint is, of course, the resignation of the INEC chair and handing over to Obamuche Umbo after 10 years. Yeah, this year actually makes it 10 years. All right, let's look at leadership. The Leadership newspaper. We must finalize electoral reforms well ahead of 2027. Speaker Bass. Reactions as Tinubu seeks fresh $2.84 billion foreign loan. All right, let me see. Lagos orders coroner's inquest into Afriland Tower death. ADC can't afford to fail, David Mark tells members. All right, let's see. 2027 group says Hashim Olawepo Northern Christians best bet. All right, and alleged certificate forgery, Science Minister Nnaji resigns. All right, let's see. Okay, those are the stories. Other ones are just basically repeated. All right, let's look at the Punch newspaper this morning, and then I'll look at the last paper I have for you today. All right, let's look at Punch. Displaced Borno resident recounts Boko Haram invasion. World Bank dismisses Nigeria's single-digit inflation target. How Abbas intervention stalled minority leaders' impeachment. And then we have the biggest story there. Countdown to 2027. Tinubu to pick new INEC chair this week. Yakubu steps aside. President consults Council of State's selection process under spotlight. All right, police pensioners rally for protest after talks collapse. Cultists kill 4 in Lagos, Ogun communities. And Tinubu access to National Assembly bills over policy clash. All right, those are the story you find on the Punch. And lastly, this morning that we taken is the Daily Trust newspaper. Tinubu seeks fresh $2.3 billion loan. And then we have 2027 ADC sets criteria for candidates. Senate proposes 10-year passport ban for Nigerians convicted abroad. And we have Amipitan may emerge INEC chair. Let's see how it goes. And finally, Minister resigns over alleged certificate forgery. I have all the stories below. We have 2,000 Nigerian refugees to return from Niger. Federal government. Woman sets husband ablaze. How Discos lost 358 billion naira in 3 months. All right, these are the stories, the biggest headlines on our papers today as we have looked at it. So as usual, I'm going to take a short breather. When I return, hopefully my guests will be joining me to analyze some of the biggest stories we've taken with you today. Stay with us. All right, glad to have you back on the program, The Press, this morning. I am Princess, and yes, we've given you the biggest headlines, and I was supposed to be joined by a guest, an external guest actually, but somehow he's not here. So I've been now joined by a colleague, a friend, a very good friend, and of course a business analyst, I'll call him, because of a show here on Capital Television. So in the studio with me this morning is Okechukwu Onubogo. It's a pleasure to have you join me. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, because you're a business analyst, I'll start off with the story that is everywhere, and that's the president seeking for fresh loan of over $2.3 billion, and of course an additional $500 million. Now the purpose of this loan is to actually work in 3 places. First, be sort of part finance the 2025 budget deficit, and then of course refinance maturing euro bonds, and also issue Nigeria's first sovereign global sukuk, that's the Islamic bond, which is the $500 million, aiming to tap into Islamic finance market. Now the government proposed to raise the funds via euro bonds, syndicated loans, and of course bridge financing or direct borrowing from international institutions. Now, part of the borrowing, especially the sukuk part, may be backed or enhanced by institutions like the Islamic Corporation for the insurance of investment and, of course, export credit. What are your take on this loan request by the president?
Oh, well, the only thing, one major thing that everyone would remember is that just recently our president said that there is no need for loans any longer, that things are getting better and all that. So it's quite a surprise that not just long after that statement we're hearing about this other one now. And there had been one that was mentioned even before this, since after the time he said that. And also looking at the fact that he had earlier said that by the end of August that they had met their target. So somehow it begins to bother some people who reason this way, that since this is what has happened, what is the need to go cap in hand, I want to use that word, asking for further fund, for that loan from outside the country? You know, somehow it will look as though it does not really gel, you know, that you can't just bring these two together. When you say that you are sufficient unto yourself is what you have already, and you still go out to start asking for loans. So somewhat, honestly, it's still difficult. But then, it's normal for countries to go seek for loans for one thing or the other, even as he has mentioned the 3 major things he will use the loan for. But if we are really getting better, if we are improving, if our money is supposed to make more sense or better sense than it had made all the while, I don't think there is a good need. Let me use the word good need for that. But he is the one that is at the helm of affairs right now. So he knows, he sees some other things that have not been made clear to the public, and so that must be why he would decide to do this kind of asking for loan again. Though there is the one that is a grant and the others are loans and all that. You know, the sukuk one is a land. But then, well, looking at it, there is still need, even as some people have always said it right from a long time ago, that there is still need to wake up our industries in Nigeria. You see, industrialization is the right way to go. And when we start getting involved in serious industrialization, you see, it will help the country. Why I'm saying so is that right now, there are so many things Nigeria imports from outside that should have been produced here. And if that happens, then it will help save some foreign exchange for us. But when we keep importing everything, I keep saying it, people still import toothpick from outside the country. And in fact, I don't know whether there is any major thing that people use, especially for pleasure, that are not being imported. But these are things we can work on here and produce them. There are factories. I keep seeing the vehicles. We are going into closer relationship with China, with Japan, and all that. And then we're opening up our borders for them to bring in their latest vehicles and all that. Where we have innocent, where we have, why not, if we were serious about the fact that we want to sort out all that has to do with this borrowing, the money that is spent on foreign vehicles in this country is more than enough to take care of all that we need. Right from the presidency to local government chairman, it's everywhere. What is the need when we have a manufacturing a vehicle manufacturing company in Nigeria? Let's just go that way alone. Like the president said something good recently, that we will stop exporting shea butter, because of the fact that there has not been any work done on making it better than just taking it raw outside, the way we export our oil raw. And so he's saying, before you do that export any longer, it has to be there has to be an improvement of up to about 30%, at least 30%, before you now do any kind of exporting that product. But that is just one of so many things, and that one is among the least. Honestly, among the least, LEAST. The major ones are the things that have to do with, especially this importation of vehicles, and even some edible materials and some other things like that. Do you know that people still import these what do you call it now? The advanced carpentry work is called something else. I also remember. They import all these things from outside the country. But we have wonderful producers of furniture. Go to Kubo. You see, no matter the quality you want, they can give it to you in Kubo, here in Abuja. And go to some other areas where they have such people. They can produce all of these. Do you know that up to right now, they still import furniture from outside the country to decorate or to put in government houses? But then there are these, there are these big companies, furniture companies, that can give you anything furniture in the world. And not just that they'll give it to you, they give it to you in the best of forms. Anyhow you want it, you can get it from them. That is a lot of money that is being frittered away from Nigeria's economy. And there are many other things. I've just mentioned these few. Some will want to build houses and they will import everything from outside the country. And we're still talking about the fact that we want to save money. There are some of these things that are so painful to hear that they are still happening in our country today. Well, as I said, the president knows why he's doing it. There are people who are also working with him who know why he's doing it. The finance minister should understand, and they know why maybe they feel that one will not cause problem. But all the same, some people have asked the question, after doing all this, who is left to pay these things? Is it not so much pain that we are bringing upon our children and our children's children? That's the painful question. And nobody has answered that question. Nobody has answered that question. We were in deep trouble before Obasanjo came into governance. And when he became the president, he fought, and as he also directed Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala to fight to ensure that our debts are pardoned. And at the end of that, Nigeria was, how do I say it, relieved of, and Nigerians were relieved of the debt burden that was heavy on us. But incidentally, after his administration, and in recent time in particular, we are beginning to have a whole lot of debt being incurred by people in government. And you keep wondering, what was the need in the first place for the debt pardon, when we know that we are bringing in so much more again? Or maybe are they doing this with the hope that maybe there will be another debt pardon in the future? As one of, I think it was our vice president that asked for it in the last meeting they went for abroad, you know, the Commonwealth, not Commonwealth, the United Nations meeting. Okay. Yes. He talked about that debt burden, debt pardon and all that. But should that be what we would depend on? Do we have a criminal mind of collecting money from people and not paying back? Because we hope that we will succeed in making it happen again, debt pardon. Well, they know better.
All right, thank you. All right, well, we recorded 2 resignations recently, and just that would be an ex-minister, and of course, the I should call him ex now, ex-INEC chairman Yakubu. All right, so yes, the ex-chairman of INEC resigned and handed over to May Amabuchi Umbo, a senior national commissioner, to act in the capacity of INEC chair in the interim. While Yakubu said his decision is actually guided by Section 36, subsection 1 and 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, and the handover is meant to allow the incoming chairman time to settle before upcoming elections. Now, while let's also remember that during Yakubu's tenure, when he presided over as chairman, there were several reforms under him, like the biometric voter registration consolidation, the adoption of digital systems for candidate nomination, accreditation, polling collation, that is the BVAS, IREF, and other innovations to improve transparency. But the question in all of this innovations and reforms he brought, would you say our election saw better? Would you say Nigeria's vote really counted? Well, that's one question every Nigerian will ask. And I think going forward, what does his resignation mean to us? What does he present? Better opportunities? Does he have his risk? And I don't know, what is the context you say in this situation? Would you say that if it continues, or if the new INEC chairman that will be appointed by the president as they're working on it this week comes on board, there is going to be a continuity of what Yakubu left? Or are we looking forward to something new, something better going forward?
Well, one beautiful thing about our country is that we are a people that are very resilient, and we are a people that have always hope alive. You see, I see hope. That was what Obasanjo used to say. This time we have renewed hope. It's still hope. So it's this hope that is keeping us. If not, we are not even supposed to be a country anymore. But it's just the hope that is keeping us. Yes, there were great things he did, but at the end of it, just as you said, have those great things made any impact? Have they changed the story? Are we any better? I must tell you, we are not any better. We just spent money. We spent good money to do IREV, all these things, wonderful. But as far as we know, I don't know whether people's vote still counts. At least there are elections we have seen. Like, I wish I came with the pictures of some of these, but we saw some of the elections that just were held recently, where in some states people were seen where they would stay at a place and be done printing
Exactly,
and doing
stamping.
all that, stamping, all that, and at the end of the day it will still be counted. Whose vote is that supposed to be? You know, we have seen it all over the country, not just. And then again, is it not here now that a new one came up, the vote buying process? It wasn't there before. It started. The truth is that when you consider the huge amount of money that has been put into reforms, in electoral reforms, and you see that what we have seen is a far cry from what it should have been all the while, a far cry from what it should have been. But what do? As I said, we are people of hope. We still hope that we'll see it. For the man that is leaving or that has left, it's mandatory. It's normal for him to do so, because he gets his first 5 years. If the person that is at the helm of affairs says that, okay, it's good, let's let him stay, he will stay for another 5 years. So he does 2 10 years.
He has actually done 10 years now.
Yes. But then if the person at the president is not happy with him, then he goes. The official thing is for 5 years, but the additional 5 years is depending on how on which side of the president he is, you know, and that is what has happened, that he has spent his 10 years. He should be grateful for that.
All right.
And apart from that, someone else is coming. It's normal. It's normal for one to go and for another to come. And that's why I started with hope. We hope that the new person would also lift the banner, lift the banner. Let's see something better. Let the threshold be made better. Let's see how far we can go. Because for all that I can say is that we are still far away from being there. We are not there yet, and we're still very far away from being there.
All right. We're going to talk about the ex-minister's resignation as well. But before then, let me quickly tell our viewers that our phone lines are now open for you to call and be part of the conversation. We'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on any of the big headline news this morning. Feel free to be a contributor to that. All right. I've been getting calls from someone from Lagos. Please do well to call back. I'll be taking your call right now. All right. Let's look at the resignation of the ex-minister, Minister of Science, in the person of what's his name again? How did I forget his name? My head is really indeed full. Naji, yes, indeed. Uche Naji resigns, and he claimed that yes, he's been blackmailed, and that he's been under pressure to resign. You know, I think it was just weeks ago there was a story about him having forged his certificate and all that. It's been on and on. And I think at the end of the day, would I say he fell to pressure to resign? Well, you know, resignation is usually not a Nigerian thing, because people who get in power, no matter how hot it is, no matter the backlash, no matter the stone thrown at them, they don't resign. They stay put. So this is new. What would you say in this case? And aside from that part, let us also bring us back to the part where these ministers are supposedly screened at the time of appointment. So how is it, if truly that his certificates were forged, how is it that nobody was able to detect that? I think that's also points to the fact what kind of screening are done. Are they thorough screening, or is it just a normal, some sort of ceremonial screening, and then we have people coming for different positions?
Oh, well, I would say that for me, I'm even surprised he resigned, because it's not, just as you said, it's not normal for us in Nigeria.
All right, so can I have you just take a pause? Let me take this call and then we'll go back to that. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining.
Princess, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
How are family? How about the weekend?
Fine, thank you.
You're welcome. My brother over there, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I have what you are saying.
Can you tell us your name? We'd love to know your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Emmanuel from Yobe State.
All right, Emmanuel, thank you.
Yes, I have what you are saying concerning borrowing money. Borrowing money is good, but to put it in better channel, better. One thing I wanted to know, because all the senators, what they bring the money, they cannot even ask questions. Always support the president and just do it fast and able to borrow money. And what I'm saying, they're borrowing money, is it because of the election is coming 2027? After this one, you're going to borrow another one for the election. So those things, like my brother is saying that, what kind of things are going to use money for? Are we going to use to pay the people, the areas, or we use it to do another thing, build hospitals and make people, the doctors stable and make Nigeria better? That's all that I wanted to know, because the borrow money, not to borrow money is matter, but to use it in a right channel, that's proper. But another thing I wanted to say concerning our brother, which resigned, Yakubu. Yakubu, in fact, the next chairman is up. In fact, people praising him, I cannot be able to say that this man did well. He put us on this kind of mess. He's not honest, and moreover, he did the work anyway, but it was about fear or something like that. You know, I do those things. He just start, this man needs to apologize to Nigeria. Say, please, I'm sorry. I used to bring somebody. Monitor the person. Look at what happened to Port Harcourt election. This election, very small election like that. People are printing and bringing something, I know, and they cannot be able to control them. And see, the victims, the video, the project everywhere. So we see, you cannot be able to call them in order. And they are, that, you know, showing us, you know, that they are sorry for what happened and send the apology to Nigeria. Please, I'm very sorry. This person is coming, this and that. Because I thank God for that, the man, because he was saying something about bringing people from outside the country to come and monitor the election. I pray that God will help every one of us for this coming election. Because these kind of things, I never see since I was born. I never see kind of things in my life. I'm telling you honestly speaking, this is the worst election 2020, the worst election I never seen in my life. And I pray that the one coming will take a lesson and not do the need so that people will be happy. The other man who did the election about Fiola and the other people, everybody was happy. You know, everybody was happy with him. You know, glorified. That is said the man is crying without fear. He just bring the election and bring the result of the election without anything. You know, they carry gun and just surrounded, but he just did what he wanted to do. And the man is in record today. So what am I going to remember is good for? The bad election, 2023, that's why we're going to remember him. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Thank you very much, my sister, Princess.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Enjoy the rest of your day. We do appreciate contribution. All right, that actually reminds me of, you know, the president actually honored
yes,
with a CEO and title. And I don't know, when I saw it, I was like, is he deserving of that title? Because let's not forget, not too long ago, 2023, where we had the general elections, we know what happened. We know how Nigerians were vexed at the fact that the elections were not transparent. There were complaints all over that beavers were not working, and then election results that were supposed to be transmitted were not used. There were some cancelled. It was just so much. And at the end of the day, he's receiving an award. Let me take a call from Gideon. Gideon from Lagos. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, madam.
Good morning. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, this Gideon. Calling from Lagos.
All right, Gideon. Let's hear from you.
Yeah. You said the appointment of this next chairman shouldn't come from the presidency. It should allow a neutral body to do the appointment. Because the party, the president in power, will still contest the next election. It shouldn't be the person to appoint it. Even it shouldn't be the National Assembly. I think this appointment should come from the judiciary, the judges, the lawyers. Because if they appoint anybody there, they will be biased. That's the issue of election that brought in the Senate president. The person that took charge of that election was sentenced to prison, the professor. What about the beneficial, the person that benefited for it? The former INEC chairman that just resigned could have said fresh election should be held. He shouldn't hold that position. He shouldn't hold it. So, Nigeria is a country that not only the money exchange that is corruption. There are so many ways that corruption takes place in this country. They should do the needful And we Nigerians, we should not be fooled. We are too prayerful. God will do, God will do. We will pray for it. God will do, God will do. The people that brought Christianity to Nigeria, they don't depend on this Bible that God will do, God will do. Over 55 years, we will continue to say God will do it. But this getting worse every day, corruption getting increased every day. So if the government cannot do, when you take this really, we should be able to do something about it, that this is what we want. We are the people that voted you people in. Look at during the last election in Lagos. Look the antics that took place, that they were preventing so many areas from voting. Do they conduct another election in that area? That so many people were assaulted, injured. No, nothing is done. Nothing is being done. So how many people are going to be able to prosecute them? Direct allegation. How many people? So even the election itself is not being fair. So both parties discouraged the decision. See, the next election you will see, as we say, there will be no turnout because people are disappointed in so many things. They should do the right thing. They should have it in mind that one day the people will wake up. If they cannot vote them out, the people will wake up one day to speak for themselves that they will make the country for government good for them. People are watching. Nobody is happy. Nobody is happy about the situation in the country. It's too bad.
All right, Gideon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right, yes.
There is something I want to add. He said that nobody is happy. Gideon, some people are happy. People that were helped by such things, they are happy. It's just that the populace, I mean the majority of the others are not happy. But those ones are already there as a result of whatever that happened. They are happy. They are rejoicing.
Of course. Just like when we say that, there's no money in the country, everybody's suffering. There are people who are really, that this is their best time, actually.
Buying vehicles and doing a whole lot of things.
Well, if we're discussing that, it brings us back to the electoral reform that really we need to work on as Nigerians. There should be an electoral reform for that body to work better, for the benefit of Nigerians and not for anybody. Now, the issue of the president appointing INEC chairman, we've beaten that particular topic over and over again, and it seems that nothing is being done about it. The president, as we speak, is gearing up to appoint another INEC chairman, and whether we like it or not, whoever gets appointed sees the president as his boss, and so will definitely want to do his bidding. And that is why the appointment of an INEC chairman should be neutral. It should be on a neutral ground. I don't know what you propose, how it should be done. Gideon says that maybe the judges should be the one appointing the lawyers and all. I don't even know if they are better positioned to do that, or if it should be made to be elective. I don't know.
Even when it is elective, there is someone that will still conduct that election.
So what's the way forward then?
The only thing is just that, just as I said, we have hope. We have hope that someone that could be trusted the way Jega was trusted, because I must tell you that Jega was trusted.
Yeah, he actually did try during his time.
Someone that could be trusted the way Jega was trusted will still come again. Someone that could be transparent,
objective,
the way Jega was.
Unbiased.
I must mention that name because he did great while he was there. Someone that could be like him, someone that could be like Humphrey Nwosu of blessed memory. I mean, for me, these are the two main names that have always come to mind each time I want to remember great people that had headed that department, that section. So we'll still have such people in our country.
We do, actually.
We're just hoping that somehow they could be picked. I remember Igini. Igini was a state electoral officer, and Igini proved his mettle. Okay.
All right, let's take another caller. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
You're welcome. Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
Okay, let me do that. This is Michael. Can you hear me now?
Michael?
Yeah, this is Michael. I'm calling from Rivers State, Port Harcourt.
All right, Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I want
issue. I said, Michael Akwaranto, please. I want to comment on the issue of the president appointing an INEC chairman. How is that possible in the first place? It's like you going to write an exam and you are being allowed to say that exam question by yourself. How do you think you are going to fail, or your relatives fail that exam? You already know the answers to the question. You understand? I believe this should be the responsibilities of all the political parties. Let them come up and bring us and appoint some members. Let them appoint someone that is politically neutral to head that office. Allow the president to appoint an INEC chairman is very embarrassing. It's painting a very, very bad image of this country, because you already know the outcome of the election. You can't appoint, I cannot appoint you to serve me and you allow me to fail. Is that possible? Please, the electoral reform we should do something about it. Honestly, that's my little take on this. Thank you for having me.
Michael. Enjoy your day.
I need to say that it happened with Jega and Goodluck Jonathan, and we are still living in this country. So the truth is that, I mean, you have a president that is prepared to let the man there do his work. And then we have a man there that is prepared to do his work. That's it. When these two persons come together, we'll get the result we got, the way it was with Jega and Jonathan. So it's not something that's impossible. We've seen it happen in Nigeria before. It can still happen over and over again as we let it. But the truth is, who is prepared to let it happen?
Indeed, who is prepared? All right, we're still open to take your calls and your contributions. All right, so do well to call and join the conversation. All right, let's take another caller. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Barrister Ogunjobi from Akure, Ondo State.
All right. Barrister Ogunjobi, thank you for joining.
I wonder why some people are of the opinion that anything is wrong in Mr. President appointing the INEC chairman. From time immemorial, from the time Nigeria was born as a country,
It has been that way.
that has been the constitutional provision.
That's what the Constitution says.
And we have seen such appointees of the president as INEC chairman performing very well, satisfying the people. The chairman of INEC who conducted Abiola's election did well. Nobody complained about his performance. What we are saying is the integrity of the person to be appointed. Then the existing electoral law, to which whoever is appointed has to comply. So, my brother, let us just pray that Mr. President will come up with the name of a person that has integrity, that has interest in our electoral system. Christians are believed in Nigeria as a country. Who's looking forward to a better election in the future? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barrister Ogunjobi, for your contribution. All right, he's saying that he doesn't see much wrong with it as long as the person is credible and has integrity. That has been how it's been. But I think for Nigerians, it's not really a case of what has been. I think it's the fact that over time, it has shown not to be working for us anymore because of the recent happenings. Well, like you said, there's no law that is written in stone. Anything can be modified. If something is no longer serving us as a people, I think it's just right for us to change it for the better. But at the end of the day, we need someone who is credible, someone who is just, someone who will against or do the right thing, no matter whose ox is good. Yes, exactly. All right, let's take another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining. What's your name?
My name is Engineer Mahmoud from Ilorin.
All right, Engineer Mahmoud from Ilorin. Thanks for joining. Go ahead.
I want to talk about the issue of the INEC chairman.
Okay.
What does the Nigerian Constitution say about it? You see, these are politicians. They normally say what favors them. The president took the office and swear with the oath of Constitution. So he has to do what the Constitution says. Constitution allow him to elect the chairman.
Yes.
That's my own conclusion.
Okay.
Yes, he's doing that is the right thing. That is what the Constitution says.
Yeah.
And no one says he shouldn't do
that.
Yes, and that's why we've also made reference to the past. People who have had it good and some who didn't have it good. Just as the barrister that mentioned, the one I had earlier mentioned about Humphrey Wosu that brought in Abiola and all that. So we have had people who stood and did the right thing, no matter what, no matter whose ox is God, as you just mentioned.
Exactly.
The truth is just that we know that somehow people may decide to do good, but when they get into office, there may be things that will lure them.
Exactly, forces.
Yes, you know. But we pray that such will not happen anymore in our country. That's just as simple as that.
I don't know about praying about it.
I know that there were some state INEC officers who made it clear that they were reading whatever result under duress, and nobody prevented them nobody prevented that result from going. It still went. You know, I know that the former...
So many people were disenfranchised in the last elections.
Imo State, who went into the National Assembly, when the result was, the man reading the result said he was doing it under duress. And nothing stopped him from going there. That thing was never cancelled. You know, and we've had it in the Western State too, sometime in the past. And so, it's just so.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please turn down the volume of the TV, sir.
Can you hear me clear?
Okay, better. What's your name and where you calling us from?
Sunday David from Cross River State.
All right, Sunday David. Go ahead.
Yeah, the issue of the INEC being appointed by the president according to the Constitution. If we think that it is no longer good enough for this country, either due to one influence from the office of the presidency to favor, the National Assembly can take up that, and the Senate, and then by voting, bring in some professors, and then take in and make a vote within those two chambers. Whoever carries the highest, let him be the best, so that it will not be an issue of citing the president because the president appointed him. I think there are certain things we amend in the Constitution. They can look into it and see if they can amend it, and then it will be deal done. That's all.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, enjoy your day. All right, I'd like us to quickly look at we haven't really fully talked about Uche Nadi's resignation. Yes, as a result of pressure, he said blackmail, and but at the end of the day, it boils down to the forgery of a certificate. I'd like you to talk about that, and then let's quickly hint on the ASU strike.
Who the same thing happened a day or so, who was a minister. That was the same thing that happened in her own case, and after some time, after all the talk, NYSC something and all that, at the end of the day, she also gave up the position because of pressure. So that's the same thing that has happened to Uche Nadi. Just as you said, there were screenings, and they were screened in different places. Before they even got to the National Assembly, there were screenings in different ways from security personnel and all that. And all those screening, it wasn't found out, it was not detected until he became minister. Well, I won't say that that is what it is now until he says so, because he is the one, the onus is on him to defend himself and to say something about it. He has said his own, that people have not believed. So we'll wait until we hear the final thing, though he has resigned, okay, but then he needs to prove himself still, unless he wants the matter to be just dropped and let it sink, then that's another thing. But if not, if he really went to the University of Nigeria and Nsukka and all that and graduated, because they weren't talking about whether he went there, but whether he graduated from this place. But then, if he didn't graduate from the place, he could have as well gotten a diploma from the school. So it's just that, our people sometimes, something is stressed beyond measure. That he went to that institution in the first place is something that, having stayed there for about 3 years from what we read, he will be able to come up with a diploma, even if he's not staying the 4th year to come up with the degree. So, but nobody's talking about all that side now. All they're after is that it's a false thing. He didn't come up with the degree and all that. Well, it's left for him to decide what he wants. And now he has taken his leave. In his own best interest, let him stay calm and let it go. If he knows that he missed it somehow. That's what I think I would say.
All right, thank you. All right, let's also look at strike, the federal government responding to ASUU and on the expanded negotiation team. Now, ASUU is saying there's no going back, saying that they must embark on protest on Thursday, which is tomorrow. Now, this particular issue has lingered. I think we're even tired of talking about it. ASUU, federal government, and ASUU threatening strike every single time. What is this memorandum of understanding that has become so difficult for the federal government to meet up to? Now, we have so many of our lecturers who they don't get paid, or here some persons, some have left the countries. We just have our university is getting poorer and poorer by the day, and the fact that this ASUU strike is almost imminent for every semester is also not helping matter.
It's not helping matters, definitely it's not. And
it's hard for you to see a graduate, no matter how many years ago that would say that, yes, he did not experience ASUU strike.
Such a thing, yes. So that's why many private universities are thriving in Nigeria.
Yes.
And they will thrive the more, because those ones in the private institutions don't bother about these things because they get paid and they do their job. Even when they don't get paid, the highest you can do is resign and go. But then, well, it's happening. There are so many private universities in Nigeria today. It's just that the money. How many?
Yeah. How many parents can afford it?
Yes, that's it. But then you look at the fact that our private secondary schools these days are even the amount of money you pay to be in private secondary schools, even primary schools.
You're talking about secondary,
Nigeria.
nursery,
even nursery school in private schools now is even higher than what you pay to be in government university. So that's another thing. So I know that somehow they can still, parents can still look for a way to help their children,
rather than let them suffer for nothing. Yes, but even the welfare of the lecturers themselves should be considered.
The point is that when we look at such things, honestly, it's really a shame that we're even talking about such a thing in Nigeria, because someone that came out from the secondary school that didn't go to any university has gone and joins politics, then follows the rudiments, their basic local rudiments. The politicians have their own. And when they finish and he becomes a member of the National Assembly, that they pay him more than that lecturer in the university.
That is more than the future of the country.
It is a big shame.
It is.
That they pay them, and they keep talking about reviewing their salary, upward review, Yet, these ones, what we're talking about here, what they're even fighting for, is not even for 2025. It's many years back, 2017, 2018, 2019. Is it not a shame? And even now, the value of the Naira was brought down effectively, and it hasn't affected them. It's still the same idea that we're talking about. So in fact, a lot should be done. A lot should be done. I pray that the people in government would really listen to them, because these people are people that should be listened to, no matter what. No matter what. The security vote of a governor in a state is more, I mean, each year can take care of all these things we're talking about. But they are not talking about this. It's quite a shame that it's happening like this in our country. Education, are we not supposed to be talking about the country where that, from what we have had always, that education should have 15%? It's never had anything close to that 15. And what is happening? Allocation, I mean. So what are we talking about? So there's a problem. There is a serious problem. And the annoying thing is that the people who are supposed to talk about these people are not saying anything. People who were their students are not even talking. They are there in government and they don't care. They are laughing at them because they have had the opportunity of becoming politicians and staying in office. It's a shame.
Indeed it is. And this is actually how far we go on the show today. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Okechukwu Onumbogu, for joining me on the show. I do appreciate your presence and your contributions as well to them.
Right.
And that's where we wrap it this morning for today's edition of The Press here on Kaftan Television. Now we've seen from the exit of the former INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood, marking the end of a significant chapter in Nigeria's electoral journey. So the president proposed $2.5 billion loan aimed at stabilizing the economy and, of course, refinancing national debt. The message is indeed clear. Nigeria stands once again at a crossroad. And the question, as always, is whether these decisions will bring us closer to transparency, accountability, and sustainable growth, or will it actually deepen the cycle of dependency and, of course, continues to strain us as a people. Well, as citizens, we also reserve the right to always stay informed, ask the right questions, and hold our leaders to the promises they make in our name. Well, I am Princess Ekeze Okoli, thanking you for being with us this morning. Do enjoy the rest of your day and always stay tuned to Kaftan Television for more insightful updates and news. Bye for now.